Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this World of Warcraft Dragonflight guide video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about jewelcrafting and knowledge points. Jewelcrafting is a profession that has 630 knowledge points in Dragonflight, and that makes it a medium difficult profession to level up. There are some that are much harder and some that are a little bit easier, and it's still going to take you months to get everything maxed. As for your race when it comes to jewelcrafting, Draenei have a specialization in jewelcrafting with +5 skill bonus in racial, and that is important in some cases. So sometimes you may want to roll a Draenei if you want to do jewelcrafting, but you can also somehow succeed even without being one. Culti runs also have +2 skill like they have for everything, but that is not as important as the +5 that Draenei have. Jewelcrafting as a profession is reasonably easy to level, because first of all, you want those first craft bonuses for everything, because that gives you knowledge points, so you do first craft and first crafts until around 50-ish. And then various Nosterite gems will get you all the way to 80, and from 80 you can start working with primalist gems, with gear, or with jeweled dragon's hearts and get all the way to 100, so jewelcrafting is one of the kinder professions to level up. Jewelcrafting knowledge points are divided into 4 specialization trees, which are unlocked at 25, 50, 60 and 75 skill. But how do you get jewelcrafting knowledge points? First of all, there are some one-time sources of knowledge points. There are the knowledge points treasures, and there's the hidden trainer, and for jewelcrafting those will give you 29 knowledge points. Then there are knowledge points available from Renown, from Dragonscale Expedition, and from Iskara Tusker in case of jewelcrafting. At levels 40 and 24, well, Dragonscale is 23, but Iskara is 24, it's total of 20 knowledge points from those. Then there's Artisan's Consortium. While you get Artisan's Consortium rep, you will get 10 plus 10 plus 10, so overall 30 knowledge points from Artisan's Consortium. Then you will also get some knowledge points from your first time crafts, so do craft everything at least once. Other than those, you will be able to get 14 knowledge points per week for jewel crafting. There's weekly quests, there's crafting, collecting, and crafting orders, and those will give you 9 per week overall. Then there's weekly drops. 2 come from Disturbed Dirt or from Expedition Packs. Then 1 comes from Elemental enemies, and 1 from Nokud or Sundered Flame enemies. And then there's a Draconic Treatise, which you can order from your scribe, which will allow you to get 1 knowledge point per week. And in addition to that 14 per week, there's Darkmoon Fair, 3 per month from Darkmoon Fair, completing the profession quest there. And then the unlimited source of knowledge points is Dragon Shards of Knowledge, which you can get from just doing various types of content. You will get a few with every character at the start, and then you will earn some more from doing raids, getting some treasures, just various content. They're not very easily farmable, even though there was a thread on Reddit where someone had maxed their engineering by farming Dragon Shards of Knowledge for 8 hours per day for 1.5 months. Yeah, so you can do that, but probably not the main way to do things. But where do you spend those knowledge points? Jewelcrafting is a fairly straightforward profession when it comes to the knowledge point trees. Some are really convoluted, but jewelcrafting is fairly straightforward. There's the Jewel's Toolset Mastery, which is important basic skills. Jewel's Toolset Mastery here, first 30 points, will give you 30 skill for everything that you do in jewelcrafting, so you really want that one. Then there's Resourcefulness and there is Inspiration. Both have their uses, both are pretty important, so those are also available in this general tree. And then there is the Faceting tree, which is gem crafting. Faceting has 1 basic branch, that's 40 points, that will give you skill for all gem cuts, and then there are 4 separate, 1 gem cut per element. There's air, earth, fire, and frost. And at the end of each of those, you will unlock the ability to craft a primalist gem, which are pretty important. And those are all 40 points each, so preferably when you go into faceting, you want to unlock those primalist gems as fast as possible. So you want to focus on one of these, get that to 40, be able to craft that primalist gem, and then you will be able to start leveling up with that. Then there is setting, which is necks, rings, idols, and statues. For example, in this picture, that would be a fully maxed ring crafter with setting, and then going into jewelry, and then going into rings. Rings have been in reasonable demand so far. There's also some demand for idols. When it comes to necks, well, it's all about elemental lariat. If you have the lariat recipe, yeah, you want to go into next. If you don't, then why would you go into next? And then there's statues, which so far I actually haven't figured out why you would use statues. The statues are pretty much totally useless. And finally, there is the enterprising section, which gives you points for prospecting, so that you can prospect ore into gems, gives you points for completing profession gear, and gives you points for glassware, draconic vials, and stuff. Both prospecting and glassware have some potential to make money by selling large series of things, and then profession gear. Well, profession gear can be useful, but also people are at this point pretty done with their professions already, so you don't get a ton of orders for those. Generally, I would start jewelcrafting with opening Jeweler's Toolset Mastery and then go into faceting from there and into those gems. And if you go into gems, the main source of revenue from gems is primeless gems. They are done through crafting orders, they are bind on pickup, and there are no recrafts for gems. Unlike for gear, you can't recraft a gem. You get the mats and you make a gem, and then whatever it turns out to be, that's it. If the customer wants a recraft, they will have to send full mats again. Assuming that you're using full rank 3 materials, you're fully spec'd, fully geared, you will get to 361 skill out of 375 that's needed to guarantee rank 3 primeless gems, or 366 if you're a Draenei. So you will need an illustrious insight in order to guarantee that rank 3 craft. Of course, depending on the price of illimited diamonds, customers may also just want to use rank 2 diamonds and want you to try until you get an inspiration proc. However, when it comes to guaranteeing crafts with insight, you can guarantee a craft with insight once you're fully spec'd and you have 84 skill. And this means that this is a nice leveling opportunity as well, because at 84 skill you can already compete with people who have 100 skill when it comes to crafting primeless gems. As for other gems, Nostrite gems you can craft rank 3 guaranteed with rank 2 materials once you're fully maxed, and other minor gems you can craft rank 3s with rank 3 materials. That's fully guaranteed. No need for insight, no need for inspiration. Draenei doesn't have an advantage in those. Draenei crafters also have some advantage when it comes to crafting necks, rings, and idols, although that is limited to some special cases. For example, Signet of Titanic Insight, the ring, it's a little bit easier to craft than any of the others. Others have embellishment included, Signet does not. So without an embellishment, a Draenei can guarantee a 418 Signet with missive, whereas others cannot. But then if you want it with missive and embellishment, then Draenei cannot guarantee it either without using an insight. The same kind of goes with idols. Draenei can guarantee 405 idols, but then when it comes to 418 idols, then the playing field is even. With tiered medallion settings, you will be able to craft items that will give you sockets for your neck pieces, and Draenei also have an advantage crafting those, because rank 3 cannot be guaranteed without using an insight. No one wants to use an insight to do that, and Draenei get closer, so with inspiration and with hidden skill bonus, they will just be able to get more rank 3 tiered medallion settings than other races. Guild is a little bit more even with other crafts. Draenei have an advantage in inspiring 405 elemental lariats, for example, but they cannot guarantee one without an insight. And when it comes to 418s, then the playing field is quite even. So as you can see, being a Draenei is useful, but there are many cases also where the playing field is completely even. If you want to be a jewel crafter who makes profession gear, you need skill in Toolset Mastery, in Enterprising, and in the Extravagancies node under Enterprising. Those are the only points where skill comes to profession gear, and once you're fully spec'd and you're fully geared, then you get to 17 points away from being able to craft max rank blue gear. So that means that you can use an illustrious insight to guarantee that, or you can do them with inspiration. Finally, there is prospecting. Prospecting ore, breaking that into gems so that you can sell those gems on the auction house. And Draenei does have an advantage again, because with inspiration, prospecting rank 2 Draconium ore, Draenei gets close enough to use some of that hidden skill bonus, and they will have a significantly higher number of rank 3 illimited diamonds from those prospects. However, there's another way. You can also prospect rank 3 ore and use resourcefulness gear instead of inspiration gear, and then Draenei does not have any advantage. Which approach is better at various times in prospecting depends on the price differences between rank 2 ore and rank 3 ore. In general, if rank 3 price is around 2 times rank 2 price at most, then others can compete. If there's a bigger price difference, rank 2 price is cheaper, then Draenei is just going to inspiration prospect at rank 2 ore, and then everyone else will be outcompeted from the prospecting market. So again, some advantages, but in some situations, like I just checked the auction house before I made this video, right now resourcefulness prospecting is the way to go, so Draenei does not have an advantage when it comes to prospecting, but I mean, it could be different in an hour again. So conclusions and recommendations overall from knowledge points in jewel crafting. You can jewel craft without being a Draenei, especially as you move into 418 crafts, which are quite much in demand right now, away from 405s, then the Draenei advantages become smaller, so yeah, it's doable. Although obviously if you choose a new character and you want that to be a jewel crafter, you will want to choose Draenei if you're Alliance. Then when it comes to leveling, those Nostrite gems will get you to 80, and then primalist gems generally are the most reliable way to get from there, because people keep wanting those gems and you can craft some for really cheap as well. There are a couple of alternatives. I have leveled one jewel crafter also by doing signets. And then you can also do jewel crafting. You can go into glassware, you can unlock Jewel Dragon's Heart. It's time gated, but it gives you skill gains all the way. So then you don't have to rely on any sort of crafting orders and you will just slowly level up your jewel crafting. But it's slow and it forces you to put points into glassware, and glassware is not a great place to be in general. So I just don't like that leveling path myself. Then when it comes to the source materials, the raw materials that you're using, the elemented diamonds are valuable. Much of the other material just isn't. Like stuff that you craft elemental lariats from, stuff that you craft rings from, they're just not valuable. Which means that resourcefulness for a jewel crafter, if you're into gem crafting, resourcefulness can be great. Let's say you're selling guaranteed gems with illustrious insight, and you have a big resourcefulness tool, resourcefulness spec, you are going to get some diamonds for yourself as well, because the crafter keeps the resourcefulness proc, so resourcefulness can be great there. But if you're crafting like elemental lariats, you're crafting rings, then resourcefulness, because those materials are not very valuable, it's not that great. You'd rather just do inspiration in that case. Overall, jewel crafting is a pretty great profession to be in World of Warcraft Dragonflight. There's also more jewel crafting stuff coming in 10.0.7. Although it looks like that's not going to matter too much how you spend your knowledge points for that. We don't have the final design for that one yet, so we'll see. But in general, there are plenty of opportunities to make a profit, and it's a pretty useful profession overall. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.